Hey everyone. So I'm Lauren and I am a sound healing doula and I am the CEO of Washea. And in today's little chat, I do want to open up this safe space for others to kind of come forward, add something to this space. And this is something that I have seen a lot of people talking about, but not really knowing exactly how to navigate it. And the whole thing here is touching again on the mother wound, but delving deeper into it and kind of moving around the subject of mothers being jealous of their daughters. And although this does apply to sons as well, I just want to hold space and allow this safe space to just exist for daughters. So yeah, like there have been a number of people, I've had friends that have confided in me in regards to this, and there are a number of common themes that are running through each conversation that I've had. And while I have a lot of conversations with people about different things, one thing that seems to be very apparent is whatever conversations I'm having, they reflect certain things that are going on in my own life. So yeah, I'm conscious of the fact that I'm having a conversation and guiding and helping somebody else through something, but although it may not be exactly the same thing, underneath it all, when all of the extra fluff and the situations and all of the external lifestyle things, aspects, and just like extra pizzazz that is added to the topic, it's sort of like it's kind of dressed up so that it's like my situation or somebody else's. When I take all of that away, it's the same thing essentially. So I am then called to look deeper and see how I can first of all help myself, and then I use whatever that is to help somebody else through a situation. So as far as I can kind of do this, I will always test something out first before I'm talking about it, or if I haven't fully experienced the thing that I'm talking about, I will research it and I will then kind of allow my spirit team and just my talents and gifts when it comes to talking about things that I see, and like how I'm able to join dots up and stuff. I am able to use all of those resources and things, like the skills that I've acquired over time, to show that it's safe to do this thing. And while I'm doing all of this, I like this particular topic, every time it has come up in conversation with a friend, a client, or just somebody in passing, it has struck a nerve with me that I wasn't ready to feel it, and it's taken a while for me to make that connection between like, oh, whenever this particular topic comes up, I feel this way and this is how my body is reacting to it. And then I'm not just stopping there, I'm kind of moving through it even more and kind of thinking, okay, and now that I've made that connection that my body is feeling this way, I am either choosing to explore this further, or I'm choosing to block it out. And for a while, I just kept blocking it out because I was like, no, this can't be like the fact that I'm having such a strong response to it. Like, it can't mean that this situation relates to me in any way. And like I have said and will continue to say, when it comes to healing, there are multiple levels to it. And when you think there is a certain layer that is quote unquote healed, something else will come in to remind you that, okay, yeah, you've healed it on that level, but because you're evolving in such a way that something bigger is required of you, you have to kind of go back into that particular area of healing, and you just need to address it again, or you need to deal with it if you sort of skimmed over it previously, to kind of put a band-aid on it. Because when you spend a prolonged period of time just slapping a whole bunch of band-aids on it, the core issue is still underneath. Like, it's just getting worse. And having a bunch of coping mechanisms that are numbing you out to the point that you are not able to feel anything, like that, although I can say it helps up to a point, because that whatever that coping mechanism is that you've chosen, it is actually protecting you. So yeah, to a point it is helping you, but the coping mechanism that is probably not very healthy, it needs to stop, or it needs to change. And having the strength to kind of shift that pain into something more productive is where I feel and where I'm seeing that having emotions attached to the mother being jealous of the daughter, that connection, and like just having that sort of area of your generational trauma, what you're doing is you're breaking that chain. So it basically stops with you and it starts with you. So this is something that I've really spent a while kind of meditating on and just sitting with, because when, like, I am going to keep saying this throughout all of these little chats, but there is so much power in actually being still, remaining still, and just breathing through however you're feeling and allowing your body to actually feel whatever that is. And because of how your body personally processes emotions, trying not to have that connection of like, this is a bad emotion, so I'm going to punish myself further, even though I'm already in a delicate emotional situation or physical situation. So being gentle with yourself is so important, because when addressing the mother wound, so whether you are addressing it from a place of being a daughter, or you are addressing it from being the mother and observing your actions towards your daughter, or even if you're not even thinking about becoming a mother, or even if you are, like, wherever your headspace is with regards to the archetype of being a mother, you have to be a little bit selfish with the way in which you kind of move through this, because there is a certain level of emotional protection or buffering that is gonna be there to protect you. And what you need to do, or what I invite you to do before you really kind of get down to why you're feeling the way that you're feeling when you think about your mum or that mother figure, or even yourself as that mothering figure, is like, does it feel safe for me to experience this right now? Because if you're trying to heal this part of you and you don't feel safe, if you are worried about how your thoughts are going to manifest, that is basically putting another layer of fear in and around this process. And ideally, this process of working through your emotions, it should allow you to feel free, and it does take time to actually allow you to get there. But if there is more time where you're feeling overwhelmed with all of the physical sensations, and then you are struggling to process what your mind is trying to communicate with you, this process of understanding where you are, where you want to be, and also connecting that with the relationship you have with your mum, you've had with her, or you kind of wish you had with her. There are, yet again, different levels to that, and it depends on where you are with your journey. But it is so important to have a concrete intention before you start doing this, because in my experience, if you begin to like freeball it and you're just like, oh, let me see what comes up, and you're like, there isn't that emotional protection, and like you don't have the toolkit to help yourself while you're going through it. These emotions can get quite ugly, and yes, it is all part of the process, but you need to protect yourself. And doing this is like, it's not easy. It can be fun, but you kind of have to get through the darkness first. And there are so many uncomfortable parts of this, and it's one thing hearing the words, but then when you kind of start joining the dots together and observing whatever you went through, however you went through it, and with a lot of the conversations I've been having, I have definitely noticed that a lot of women or girls at the time, they are sort of remembering that there aren't that many instances in their childhood where their mum was speaking positively about her body. And then obviously as the daughter was growing up, that idea was basically being imprinted in them. So no wonder now mirror work and staring in the mirror brings up so many deep-rooted emotions that make it hard to love different parts of the bodies that we've grown into. Like, for instance, I've had stretch marks for a while. I think the first time, I think I was like 7 or 8 when I got my first stretch mark. And then I remember there was a very specific I can't remember where it was. I think it was at school. There's a specific hallway that we had to walk down, and I remember looking down on my legs. I was wearing a skirt and I saw a new set of stretch marks on my knees, and because they were a slightly different color to what I remember my knees looking like pre-stretch marks, I was trying to get rid of them. And I was not, like, I'm a lot better now, but I was not in a place to where I was able to go to a figure, like a female figure, and sort of know how to celebrate my body in that way. And I know that a lot of people don't have that, like they didn't have that growing up. And the more I'm talking to others about just bodies in general and how they change, it makes me feel less alone. So another thing on like the jealousy thing and mothers being jealous, when the realization comes in that parents or your mom is literally an inner child who has gone through her own trauma, but now she's trapped in an adult body, it does sort of take the pressure away. And as someone who is going through their own healing journey, I'm able to reframe how I think about the way in which I approach my mum and just other women in that sort of like age range. So there were emotions like anger, frustration, and sadness, but the more I'm sort of just being with my energy, I'm actually realizing that the sadness is coming from me connecting with her inner child and having those conversations from a spiritual point of view. And instead of me in my physical adult body now, I'm talking to my mum's inner child as my own inner child. So it's like two children are having their own conversation. And that has really helped me stay grounded, and I'm learning how to navigate different emotional states because I am learning to meet people where they're at. And because I'm doing that, I'm also asking that others do the same for me. And a simple act of like asking for others to add to a seed that I've planted so that it becomes like a garden that is blooming and is full of positivity and light, but also celebrating the darkness, it really does help. So yeah, if this has inspired you to write anything, create anything, think a little bit deeper, I will be touching more on this at a later date once I meditate a bit more on it. But yeah, I will speak to you very, very soon. So yeah, I hope you have a gentle day.